Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at Ace's Underlord. Ace is probably the most consistent player in the world, one of the most consistent players in the world. I mean, this guy was my idol for a long time because personally the way, I used to be an offlane player before I switched to +5, and the way I like to play was very farm oriented, very item timing oriented, and this guy is the king of that. I mean, he's been that for forever now. He's the aura bot of gaming gladiators, but frankly, it works for their team. He's incredibly good at it. He's really steady. And also, I just want to talk about Underlord as a whole. This hero is really interesting. I'm a huge fan of the Aghanim scepter. The increased radius on Pit of Malice and the portal on usage of the ultimate is incredible. And he also has Demon's Reach, right? Which is a facet that overall has been buffed, and it basically just gives you cleave, right? So yeah, let's talk about Underlord. I'm not going to go too much into the first 20 minutes because honestly, he's just farming. However, that is going to be important to cover at least a little because guys, people just don't farm enough, right? The reality is people just don't farm enough, and let's get into it. On top of that, go sign up to the gameleap website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. Okay, so in the laning stage, let's just, cover all the basics. Tangos, bracer components, 2 branches, quelling blade, just maximum damage. He skills his E at level 1, which I don't know if he knew, but it actually is giving him bonus damage for the Warlock imps that spawn, which is very specific information, but sure, it didn't really do much, but it does work. Now, in this laning stage, he's against a Nature's Prophet and a Warlock with a Shaman, which is a very unfavorable matchup. There's really no pressure for the Shaman and the Underlord at any point unless the enemy messes up. And so really his main objective should just be to get as perfect last hits as possible. He should put all of his emphasis on just holding good lane equilibrium and getting, again, perfect CS. So really what you expect in a lane like this, and this is an important note, guys, if you are in a lane where you expect to have low pressure because you're playing something like Underlord, which frequently just has low pressure, your main objective should be to hold the lane back as much as possible and cast your Q as little as possible. Maybe you would cast it in a circumstance like this, maybe just to try to secure the small camp, maybe get some of the last hits, but even then, right? Notice how he doesn't cast his Q, and he's just trying to bring the lane back. Good play from the Warlock to aggro the large camp, but he's just trying to get the lane back. And a lot of players, they won't understand this. They'll kind of mix up the two. They'll say, oh, he's not using his Q. I should never use my Q. Not true. If you're laning against, a melee hero and you have a stronger +4, Shaman's not exactly the best laner early on, then there's definitely good reason to cast your Q, put pressure, maybe zone the enemy carry off a range creep, right? Something like that. That's just not the case here. And so it's not that he wants to hold his mana, there's literally just not a good reason to cast the Q. Casual damage against Soothing Sapling's Nature's Prophet and a Warlock just isn't gonna do anything. It's really just gonna feed stick charges comically. And we'll actually see his first Q usage right here. It's on the large camp, just trying to secure some of these creeps. Funny enough, he doesn't get any of them because honestly, Firestormer level 1 is just a pretty bad ability. It just doesn't do that much. But yeah, mostly just going to be creep aggro, trying not to push the wave, which is a little bit the downside of this Demon's Reach, I will admit. It does have this flaw where in the laning stage, hitting pushes the wave, which kind of sucks in lanes like this, but it is what it is. After that, he bought boots, a second set of tangos. He does not actually want to be rushing the Ring of Health. If you do rush Ring of Health, I think you can, skip over the second set of tangos in a lot of lanes if the lane is chill and just get that early Ring of Health. In terms of skill build, second point in Atrophy Aura at level 4. He's going to take second point in Firestorm. There's no kill potential in this lane. His job is just going to be to farm the back camps, and let's go to that now. Okay, so right here, you notice he actually picks up Gloves of Haste, right? The boots were just to survive the lane, take as little damage as possible, and now he actually picks up a Gloves of Haste and is going to use the Atrophy Aura or the Demon's Zeal or Demon's Reach to stack this camp and farm it. He actually kind of messed up his Firestorm there. It didn't hit the Mud Golems instantly, but no big deal. You farm the jungle pretty efficiently. And so yeah, funny, he's actually just jungling these back camps. Now, this is a stylistic play from pro teams. Basically, the logic here is that they want to pressure mid. They don't want to focus their attention on his lane. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Again, there really is just no pressure here. And so it doesn't really make much sense at all for him to just lane hard and try to enforce his +4 to help him. So at level 5, he's going to take his next point in his E. And again, at this point, you actually can just jungle the back camps. He did get some stacks on the large in the triangle, and that is something you can ask your +4 to do, but it's definitely not necessary to have a good game. Very frequently, guys, when you're jungling these back camps, the enemy carry is going to get impatient, and they're going to push the wave. When they push the wave, receive the wave, and then go back to the jungle. hopefully, if you're really efficient and you're really good at looking at the clock like Ace is, you'll find the opportunities like this to push the wave and then also be able to get a stack. And this is great. And by the way, when you're farming the stack, only hit the large creeps. It is way, 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 way more efficient to do that. So please keep that in mind. In this game, he gets absolutely blessed. Mystical chipped vest, back for the soul ring. Look at this skill build, and you might be like, nah, if I do this skill build in my pub, my teammates are gonna be so mad. Yeah, they might be, but who cares? You're gonna have 1 billion gold eventually. Because you'll notice this NP who's complete free farm is barely ahead of him, and the NP had a better start, right? This NP also has an assist from using his ultimate, right? So it just goes to show how efficient this can actually be. Now, when you have Soul Ring, you super need the Ring of Health. If you want to go Pipe first, so there's 2 different ways you can play in terms of items. You can go Pipe or you can go Crimson. We're gonna see his first ulti in here. Honestly, it's kind of sad to ulti in with no point in W. It's why I maybe a little disagree with the skill build. Frankly, I think if you're gonna bother to skill ult at like 8, you should probably skip a singular point in the E. Even though it feels bad, you should probably skip a point in the E and have a point in the W to make sure you have teamfight impact. So I do disagree with Ace a little bit here on that front. So after this teamfight ends, he's back into the jungle, continuing to stack camps. And this is the main thing I want you guys to see. If you're an offlane player and you can't gain rank, something maybe that you're doing wrong is you're over-forcing moves. In fact, every single time I watch some okay, not every single time, but the vast majority of times I watch like a 3k MMR, 4k MMR Axe player, I'm just like face palming at how many moves they're making. Axe is one of the fastest farming heroes in the game and is extremely level reliant. This hero wants high levels in all of his abilities, especially when he eventually gets his shard for max battle hunger. And I'll just watch these Axes with a naked blink dagger trying to force deep moves under towers with no proper follow-up. And I'm like, why isn't this guy just hitting creeps? Like, the reality of Dota is there's so many creeps and they give you a lot of gold. It's very, very efficient. And so yeah, he is going to eventually get into this move. Again, you're not that strong at this point in the game. I would say definitely the downside of Underlord is actually kind of this point in the game. Your hero is not, I mean, it's not terrible. It's just not that explosive. You really come online when you get this Aghanim scepter at some point. But yeah, I'm going to skip ahead now, guys, because frankly, every single time his ultimate is on cooldown, he's just moving back into the jungle, being efficient, toggling in treads, toggling string treads on Soul Ring, and just rinse repeating. So let's move on ahead. Oh, one last thing I do want to mention, which I actually think is important. At level 10, this Atrophy Aura duration is incredible. It makes jungling way faster. So please take it. It is really, really good. The other one is also incredible, the Invading Force movement bonus and damage reduction. And I'm going to cover that in a moment. So let's actually talk about that quickly now. So Underlord's Innate is one of the most interesting in the game. What it does is after an allied hero teleports, including you, they temporarily gain damage reduction and movement speed. Allies receive 2 times bonuses if TPing via the gate. So if you go by the gate, it is ridiculous how fast you are. At level 1 gate, it's 28% movement speed. What in the world for 5 seconds? And if someone just uses a basic TP scroll at minute 2, they get 11% movement speed and 4% damage reduction. Guys, that is a ridiculous number. If your pos 4 wants to gank mid or the safe lane, their gank is way more likely to hit, like way more likely to hit. So I just want to stress that that is just part of the game. And by the way, it works with things like Nature's Prophet teleport. So a hero like Nature's Prophet is just way better with Underlord on his team, which is funny, but it's just true. You just get damage reduction and movement speed every time you click your W. So he doesn't buy Wand, which I find to be a little weird, but I think it's mainly just a slot issue. He doesn't really want to like slot out his Coiling Blade against Nature's Prophet, which I understand. Otherwise, I would say if he didn't need the coiling that much, then I would like to see the wand. This hero does have a lot of mana issues, like a lot of mana issues. So just be aware. Okay, so now is when things really start to get fun. And I mean really start to get fun. Because basically, he's got his axe now. The huge part here is that it summons a pit and increases the radius. By the way, at level 15, he actually didn't skill the talent at level 15. He maxed out the pit and then went back for it. But you want to make sure you have your 15 talent around the time in which you get your axe. Because Pit of Malice slows is great. Now, Firestorm cooldown is also fantastic, but 25% slow on this huge radius is unbelievable. Now, this teamfight, I actually think his execution wasn't the best. I think this pit was probably a bit overforced. You know, it just ends up being on a BKB Storm and like some units, which is not nothing, but it's probably not the best. So Ends up gating in. This fight looks like a complete mess. There's so much stuff on the ground. I literally can't see. But yeah, he's able to chase forward. And look at that pit radius. And it just stays on the ground for 12 seconds and slows. I mean, this ability is just ridiculous on this timing. I mean, beyond ridiculous. And look how farmed he is, but just hitting creeps. He doesn't have a lot of kills, just hitting so many creeps. We're going to see another team fight in a moment because it is so disruptive what you can do. And you can lead fights with it. That's the thing too. It is so easy to force early BKBs with this Underlord because of the fact that, I mean, people just kind of can't get out of it. It's a slow and it's huge. Okay, so fight breaks out here. Wants to save his shaman, so he's going to pop his pipe, pop his crimson, try to bail him out. When you're using pipe and crimson, guys, try to use it as late as possible. Really try not to panic on it. Try to make sure it's like in respects to maybe a big spell from the enemy. Like, try not to just casually be like, oh shoot, they're poking us with arc lightning, I'm clicking pipe. You know, really try to make sure it's on a stun. But yeah, this is a great example. So NP is getting chased by TB, just gates on him, and look, it creates it on both the gates, like, which, you know, definitely won't matter in a lot of cases. But now this NP put in a really awkward position, gets his BKB forced, super awkward because it's not like he gets to hit anyone during it. And now it's an easy chase. Probably should have Quelling out here. I think he was just thinking about trying to get the max range pit, which did hit the Warlock. And yeah, super great. Just forcing out the NP BKB, you saving a Shaman with the auras. That's incredibly high impact. Incredibly high impact. At level 20, he takes Atrophy Aura, attack damage, and gain. Which is definitely pretty nice. At level 25, you're almost definitely going to take the Pit of Malice route, especially considering, I mean, it's a no-brainer, but especially with the axe. I will admit, I am a big fan of the very cheesy Gleipnir that you can buy with this hero now, because it's AoE bonus, and it's a root, so it's like really good with the axe. I really do like it. Even though it kind of seems like a meme, I think it's actually very good. So he's going for AC next. I don't blame him. He's against a Beastmaster, a Storm, and a Nature's Prophet Trio Core. A lot of physical damage. That's why he rushed the Crimson Guard. You know, and another thing I want to touch on, another thing I wanted to touch on is that for your item build, guys, I would say aura item first is always best because you need HP regen. I think Axe Rush is cringe. It's just not nearly as good. And, you know, auras are very effective early on to the game, especially Pipe. He just went Crimson first this game because of like Beastmaster especially. But yeah, I think Pipe into Axe is totally acceptable. I'm a big fan of double aura. You know, I'm a huge fan of double aura. Like, Pipe Crimson is just nasty. But I think Pipe Axe is totally acceptable. The only problem sometimes with it is you want to max your Q and your E, so by the time you get your Axe second item, you might not even have max pit. However, I don't think it's a big deal. Frankly, this ability at level 1 is a 1.5 second root. It's not like the cooldown is that big of a deal. It matters, but you're still going to get off your double pit. And so yeah, I think it's totally acceptable to go Pipe Axe. And then even Gleipnir third item, I think is great. However, prioritize auras, guys. If it's a decent, and I mean decent Crimson game, go Pipe Crimson Axe. You know, just play for the auras, play to be the guy in front, the guy who can pit in, get gone on, and get down these good pits. But yeah, this game gets basically impossible for the enemy team at this point. I mean, high ground sieges are actually exceptionally easy with Underlord because this pit, I mean, you can just throw it down like that, and it's really good poke with the Q, of course. This Monkey King gets gone on. Actually, this is a good moment. I did want to cover this one quick. So he doesn't pipe Crimson here, and I think that's important to know. Like, Monkey King's getting gone on, but he knows that there's an Abaddon. You know, this guy's full HP. The enemy team, frankly, lacks damage at this point in the game. There's no reason for him to click Pipe Crimson. And I think he understands that at this point in the game, it's either going to be on, like, some complete all-in go from the Willow Warlock, or more likely is just going to be the Roar. All right, we're going to see the last fight of the game as the enemy team makes a Desperation Smoke. Connects on him. Great reaction. So quick with the Pipe Crimson. And these plays super matter. If he doesn't get this off here, he's dead. Right? But he gets it off because it is absolutely a perfect chain stun. Gets it off. And now he's fine. Save from the Abaddon, and now it's cooked. 4-man root. About to be a 4-man Firestorm. Okay, he should have Firestormed here. I don't know why he's auto-attacking. Okay, he should have clicked this Q. But either way. Oh! The ult root. And he's got another W up in a second. Actually insane. It's so insane. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Just a big fan of this hero. I think it is really cool. I think the Ags is just awesome. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.